Welcome. I'm Richard Hasnout, and I'm your host for the Wisdom Inspired podcast and this YouTube channel. Great to have you on board. If you're ever in the neighborhood, stop on by. As I've shared with you in the two previous episodes, this is the mission I have for this YouTube channel. And today the focus is going to be on helping all of us to be more highly caring and compassionate to deal with those challenges and needs that I talked about before. And I'm going to be talking and drawing information from the field of servant leadership, one of the most inspiring and effective leadership models that I'm aware of on planet Earth. It started in 1970. Major people have supported it, from Ken Blanchard to Stephen Covey and others, two people that I greatly respect. Speaking of respect, everybody in the field of servant leadership acknowledges that the original servant leader was Jesus. And there you can see a few of the traits. We'll be dealing with some of them here in a moment, but things like empathy and listening and healing and commitment to the growth of people. This is a very positive-oriented, very caring and compassionate leadership model. Well, there's a lot to be said about it, but I'm going to be focusing on just a very small part of the servant leadership model, what I call basic servant leadership. And you may remember from previous episodes, I put on the screen a number of different skills and abilities that I was going to address. This is, in my opinion, the single most powerful way to achieve the mission's purpose, to be highly caring and compassionate. It is that strong, it is that positive, it is that powerful. And for that reason, I'm leading off with it. Okay. The key part of servant leadership, as I began to experience it, was to go to people that I knew, and I'll talk about who they are in just a moment, and start by saying, "How can I help you?" This, especially when I started this as vice president of marketing at the Gallo Winery, where I converted from command and control, was a major change. I'll never forget the Monday morning that I decided I was going to be a servant leader from now on, and walked into one of the people that's office of one of the people that worked for me and asked the question, and it felt so good and so right. I'll talk about that experience more in just a moment. But the more I experienced it, the more I worked with it, the more amazing it became. There was a bonding, a trust, and a respect with people that I asked this question of, how can I help you? And I then continued it beyond my business world into all aspects of my life and coaching others, which I'll share a little bit with you here. So the key question in this part of servant leadership is going up to people, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second, and saying, how can I help you? Okay? So, with that said, here's kind of some insights that I've gained over the decades that I've been using this. When you ask the question, how can I help you? You need to come from your heart. Deep, genuine desire to help others, that caring and compassionate part of the mission. And be prepared for totally unexpected answers to that question. I'll give you I told you that Monday morning that I went into Gallo and said, I'm going to be a servant leader. I walked in the office and I said, how can I help you? And of course I was expecting they would say, gosh, I'm working on this project and business, as you know, and could you help me with it in this way or manner? Nah, that wasn't the question I got at all. But it was a great question. And the question that I asked, how can I help you, resulted in the following sort of response. A little sense of quiet. Well, don't know whether you can help us with this, but as you know, we recently had a baby. And there's lots of hospital charges, and the insurance company at Gallo here hasn't paid them yet, and the hospital is coming to us for payment. Is there anything you can do to help me with that? Well, that's a question I didn't expect. It's a question I'd never had before. It was a totally unexpected answer to my question. And I said, let me see what I can do. And so I left there. I was going to go talk to some other people. I left, went back to my office, called up the vice president of HR, told him the background and story, and said, "Can you please make sure that by noontime our insurance has paid these bills?" And I gave the details and everything of the individual involved, and then come back to me. 2:00, he called me back and said, "All taken care of." 2:01 or 2:05, I went back to his office, and he said, he had a big smile on his face. He said, "My wife just called me. All the bills have been paid." Oh, what a great start to asking the question, how can I help you? Well, I was hooked on it. The universe said, "Hey, Richard, here's a totally unexpected answer to the question." Didn't know how to answer it, but said, I'll call my buddy, the VP of HR, and see what I can do. Okay? Now, when somebody answers you, there's always going to be a degree to which you can help. Okay? Sometimes, like I did, you can help with a small aspect of it. Sometimes you can be a lot of help. But here's a key insight. You need to help them with what they need, not what you think they should need. Very important. We'll come back to this in a couple of minutes here. Okay? Here are some examples of how you can help. Directly perform a task that's either partially or completely helpful. Put an oar in the water and help them. Find and access resources that help. You know people, you know capabilities and things that you can say, "Hey, here's a resource that I found that can really help you." Maybe you don't know it immediately when they ask you the question, but you can go back and do some research and get back to them. You can agree to work with them collaboratively over the next day or a couple of days to help solve the need, to answer their need. But most of all, be a great listener. Be empathetic. Understand what they're going through and feel their needs. Okay? Be genuine with all of this, okay? It's all very important. So that's what you do. Here's what you don't do. Don't tell the person what they need to do as the primary response. They ask you a question, "Can you help with this?" Don't say, "Hey, here's what you need to do to fix this." Whoa! This is, "How can I help you?" Okay? Keep the focus there. Don't tell them what they should not need help on. Okay? Don't project negative nonverbal responses, looks and tones. Somebody answers and you go, no. Stay engaged. They are taking a risk, asking for your help to some degree or another. A lot of us think we can get all these things done ourselves. And if somebody answers the question, "How can I help you?" with an actual heartfelt request for your help, honor it, respect it. And never say there's nothing you can do to help. Because you can always do something like listen, be empathetic, and be sympathetic. Okay? Sometimes the best you can do is to hear them out, feel their pain, so they have somebody to talk to about what their need is. Because you'll find out not many people are going to listen to them. You probably didn't listen to them too much before you decided to be this kind of servant leader. Okay? So, here's thoughts on how you can start. Start with those closest to you. Okay? It can be friends, family, whatever. Here's important. Do not stop asking if after you say, "How can I help you?" and they say nothing. That will often be a response. There's nothing you can help me. Now, it's either true that there is nothing you can help them with, or they want to seem self-sufficient, or they're afraid to talk about a need that they have that you might look at them, not as positively as maybe as you have before. Keep asking every day or every other day. They will need your help soon. Okay? And what's important here, if you keep asking and they still say nothing, they will understand that you are going to keep asking, and they'll say in their mind, "Hey, the next time Richard asks me that, here's what I'm going to ask his help for." Okay? They're going to start trusting that you really, really want to help because you keep asking. Okay? You can then expand it. You can expand it to work, people that report directly to you, associates, peers, and your boss. Yes, your boss. When I expanded to my boss, I went, "How can I help you?" And he looked at me and went, "Huh? This isn't me." Boss is thinking, "Don't I ask you for help? To help? What's going on here?" Okay? And we actually had a smile about it, and I've actually gotten some very positive responses from doing that. And you're going to have to build some skills with all of this, and we'll deal with them we'll deal with those to a certain extent in the next episode after all of this. Here's one thing you absolutely need to remember in all this whole process. It's not about you. It is about them. Never knew this was a Clint Eastwood quote, but it's a good one. Okay? It's not about you. It's about them. How can I help you? Okay? Very important. Okay? So, as always, if you want to learn more about what Wisdom Inspired Life is all about, you can go to the website, My Wisdom Inspired Life. You can see the stuff there that you can learn. There's a brief bio there. And in the channel, if you can click like or subscribe, all of that will be nice and supportive too. So in the next episode, I'm going to continue this on servant leadership, and I'm going to have a focus on listening. Because deep listening is going to take how can I help you to a whole new level. Well, thank you very much for listening to this. I will reconnect with you soon and look forward to continuing this journey with you. Thank you.